the notes, yeah, so do give me feedback. And before we start, has anyone got any burning questions that they are expecting me to answer, apart from what on earth is the book about?
Predictions for the next 10 years will be good.
Yeah, right, okay, right. Okay, well I'll just dive on in then. Okay, so yeah, Monkeys, Typewriters and the Search for Leadership 2.0, which was the original title of the book, which Rosie commissioned. Thank you very much. This is your baby now in reality. So yeah, I wanted to I know we're just in 2010, and happy New Year to you all, but I wanted to start by kind of rolling back a few years and just looking to the middle of the last decade, and wondering why any of you might think 2005 was a special year. What was it that happened in 2005 that has caused ripples in our world now? Okay, well, no, not Facebook. It was more, quite possibly actually. Yeah, quite possibly. There's quite a lot of things that happened. George W. Bush was inaugurated for the second time. Women in Kuwait got the vote. London won the 2012 Olympics, which seems like probably only yesterday actually. And also, a very rich, very clever man in Silicon Valley coined the term Web 2.0. Or in fact, one of his employees coined the term, and he then managed to make it into a kind of multi-million-pound business. So most of you have probably heard of Tim O'Reilly, a very successful publisher around technology and that sort of thing. And he was really interested in the kind of rebirth of the web and how all the people who'd kind of been made redundant and were working on their own projects after the dot-com crash of 2000-2001 had gone off and created things that were really quite social and quite different from the kind of money-driven projects that had come before. So that was the interesting thing about 2005. For me, I was actually at Cass' lecturing series at Cass Business School, talking about leadership and entrepreneurship. So I was rereading all the old stuff written by Peter Senge and Erin DeVers, who sadly can't be here today, but I did interview for the book. And so I was very interested in all this structure, idea about distributed leadership and the learning organisation. And this all seemed to tie in very nicely with Web 2.0 and the kind of bottom-up grassroots feel of Web 2.0. And in 2006, I met Gerard Bertlow. He set up Triarchy Press. He came in to do a talk to my students. And he said, well, why don't you write a book? Which is possibly what he said to everyone he met in those days. But anyway, he just set up a publishing company. So I decided to make the most of that. And 2007, I actually met Rosie, who was then at Triarchy, and we had a chat. And a very good friend of mine, Karen McCarthy, kind of enabled the conversation. And I signed a contract, said, yeah, I'm going to write this book. And then about a year later, I thought, oh yeah, I was meant to be writing that book, and nothing's happened. And so I actually put other projects on hold for a while and started interviewing people. And I started with people sort of very close to me, like people who I knew in the social media scene in London. And in fact, David Wilcox, who's sitting in the front row here, was one of the first people I interviewed. And it really was kind of low-hanging fruit. I mean, everyone I bumped into, I interviewed. But what's quite interesting now is that a lot of those players in that scene then have now become sort of more important, and that's been quite nice actually, and the actual London social media scene has really evolved quite a bit, and that was quite a sort of core part of the book, especially in comparison to